Hi, I'm Jason Inman, and welcome to Jason Talks More, where I talk about more geeky things with more geeky people on a geeky couch because of all the awesome support of my Patreon. Patreon.com/Jawiin, Jawiin. Head on over there. You can watch these episodes early. Thank you, guys. We get to talk more because of you with Ashley V. Robinson.
Hello.
Yes, and I pulled Ashley V. Robinson in because she is an expert on this. She is an expert on this fan question that I got that we're going to talk about on Jason Talks More. The question is, what character, this is from @JoeRover2. Joe Rover, thank you. What character, DC or Marvel, would you like to see have a Telltale game or one like the Batman Arkham series? Of course, he's talking about Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, stuff like that. So Batman Telltale Series just came out. Really, really neat little game. What's the video game that you think needs a Telltale series?
Well, this is a really easy question for me, and I think our shirts say it all. If you're going to do either a Telltale game, which is your longer form, more narrative storytelling, or like an Arkham-based, like a location-based game, I think the X-Men is the obvious answer. First of all, they need redemption because there's been like 100 X-Men video games, and they're pretty much all terrible.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, I pulled up a list, a lot of people will probably tell you that X-Men Legends or the X-Men Legends games are good. You're fooling yourself. They're not. They're pretty terrible. There's a fun been a fun Wolverine couple games. But like, to be honest with you, I think maybe the best Wolverine X-Men game ever is the original arcade one.
Yeah.
Or X-Men versus Street Fighter. So that's not much.
Right. And there's not a lot of storytelling in those games.
Devil's advocate, sorry to interrupt you, is that Batman didn't get a great game until Batman Arkham Asylum.
No, but now Batman's had like 4 or 5, if you're going to count the Lego games too. Really awesome games.
6 if you count Telltale, because Telltale's fun too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that if you're going for a more narrative, long-form storytelling, X-Men has a ton of rich material that you can mine there. There's a lot of different characters you can focus on. You don't even have to do like the 6 original ones that we've already seen.
Oh, so for each episode, you would follow a different character?
I would.
Okay, neat. Pitch us your X-Men video game. Like, what time period would you set it in? Would you couch it? Or who would you couch? Who would be your main character?
Okay, so your main here's what I would do for my first one, because you can't go super weird on the first one, right? You have to kind of ingratiate.
Like the first episode of the game?
No, the first game.
I'm
going for a franchise.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a Telltale game, my point of view character is either going to be Jean Grey, probably Jean Grey, or Hope. But I'm going to say Jean Grey because everybody knows her from the movies and from the cartoon. I'm going to start in the far, far future. Jean is going to be an old lady, and she's going to be telling an epic story to like a new class of kids, like kindergarten, first grader kids.
About Cable?
Sure.
About Cable?
Sure. And then something's going to happen, and Cable's going to show up, and he's going to say, hey, sort of not my mom, I need you to travel back in time with me in order to solve X problem.
You gotta say it like Cable.
Oh, please.
Hey, sort of not my mom. I gotta travel back in time to what? What am I doing?
To solve X, whatever the problem is.
I'm old and I'm gruff. We gotta solve problems. Do it.
Let's go.
Get your ass over here.
And then,
Cable.
so with what I would do with each...
There you go. Continue. No more pause.
What I would do with each chapter is I would jump further back.
So each chapter is a different time period.
Yes, until the final penultimate chapter, of course, is in the 60s with the founding of the original X-Men. And that's wherever your problem is. And then that way, by doing that, when you get to like the 2000s and the 90s, you can bring back either movie or cartoon voice actors.
Can I adjust your video game a little bit?
I will take your notes.
I am the commercial company.
Yeah.
You're spending my money. I think first level should be in the X Mansion with the current mutants, and so that way the first, because the Telltale games are sold in episodes.
They are.
So you get to play like for about 2 hours, and then you got to wait a month till the next 2 hours, and then the games are usually like 15 to 20 hours all combined once you get all the episodes.
Yeah.
Like that's about what Fables was. So the first episode really, I think, has to be set in current day in the X Mansion. Now it can be Jean Grey. I'm fine with that. Whatever, but somewhere during the storyline, maybe she's not feeling so good, and then the cliffhanger is what takes you to the future.
Sure, fine.
And then instead of just traveling back from the time periods of Cable's time to now, what I would do is I would make it every other one. So like post-apocalyptic time period, 1960s X-Men.
Oh, I see.
Post-apocalyptic further time period, 1970s X-Men.
Yeah.
So that way,
You can meet in the middle.
well, also, you could see every period of the X-Men. X-Men have crazy costumes and silly periods in them.
And that way, too, you can also go to a lot of the major X events
Yes.
that your comic book fans
Yes.
are really going to want to see. Like, you can do House of M.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do Age of Apocalypse, but, like, actually Age of Apocalypse.
Yes. Because it has so many characters and so many weird costumes, and I think this would be the perfect game to, like, let you. So it's all about, like, the timeline is screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay, and Cable has the key. And then we're eventually going to find out that it's Apocalypse, or we're eventually going to find out that maybe it's Strife, Cable's clone brother? What do you feel?
Sure. I would go.
Cable's clone brother, maybe?
I would want to go Strife, but if you're a big media company, you might want to go Apocalypse because that movie is very successful, particularly overseas.
Yes.
Which is a big part of the game market. But like, I'd be open for either of those.
Okay, so let's let me hear your opinions on this too. Okay, so each Telltale level, each episode basically stars a character. You have a viewpoint from a character, but you can do like Game of Thrones, and in each episode, because Game of Thrones was told through 4 different characters.
Yes.
It's Telltale Series. Would you want to do that? Like it's told through 4? I say let's do that. X-Men's a team book.
Yeah.
So
at least 4.
So your series is told through 4 characters. You already said Jean Grey is one.
Yeah.
Who are your other 3?
That's a really hard question because now I have a diversity quota to fill. It would be my inclination to try and pick fan favorite characters, even if they don't necessarily have the most useful power sets. So like Jubilee, I think has to be one.
Interesting, Jubilee. Okay.
Wolverine has to be one.
Wolverine has to be one to sell the game.
And then I think the last one.
All right, you know what? I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be like the original X-Men team. I'm going to go 5. I'm going to give you 5 because I think Cyclops has to be in there.
Yeah.
I also think Nightcrawler should be one of the other ones.
Okay, then there you go.
So it's Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Jubilee.
Yeah.
Those are your 5 team.
And then I think if like...
You can add Storm.
We can and Storm. Yeah, there we go. 6. So we have a full team of X-Men. I think... If this was a real game and if this was successful, then you could branch out in future games. Like you could have a game where you play all the Excalibur characters or all the New Mutant characters.
That'd be great.
So that way you could do like some of the weirder characters because you already have people bought into the characters they know from TV and movies.
Mm-hmm. I'd be down for that. I think it sounds really good. I think, especially like the X-Men with the soap opera elements, you could really push out to... the other storyline. You could keep this storyline going, and you could literally access every time period of the X-Men, all the stupid periods as well.
Stupid, great.
Well, I mean, when's Maggot going to show up in a video game? Never, but Maggot could totally show up in an X-Men Telltale series. If you don't know who Maggot is, go Google him.
Well, or Dupe.
Dupe.
Let's have Dupe here. Let's have Artie and Leech. Let's have Giant Size Man Thing, whatever. Let's do all the weird X-Men who's a tree who you always see in the hallways. Like, let's do all the weirdos in this video game.
I want Dupe to be like your helper. Like when you get stuck, it's Dupe and he just pops up.
Like you just hit the button and he's like, "How can I help you?"
Well, you can't understand Dupe, so that's what the funny thing about it. So he's like you're next to like this computer that you have to access, and so Dupe just shows up and goes, and you can't you're just like, well, I don't know. He's pointing. I guess the computer.
And like he's like the cat in the spotlight who sends you on a quest and stuff.
Yeah, but he's always like.
Yeah. So like when you're walking down the hallway and he pops up, you're like, I should go where he's pointing because I'll probably get something off.
You're like, I guess I'm going to follow this mini Slimer around. I guess I'm sort of going to do this because I can't understand it. Like I said, in the comic books, you can't understand Dupe.
No. That'd be great. I would love that because I love Dupe. So.
Oh, man. And this could lead off to so many, like, awesome, like I said, Excalibur. You could do Ecstatics. You could couch Telltale games specifically around storylines.
Yeah.
Like the Phoenix Saga. You could do just X-Men the Phoenix. You could do X-Men the Age of Apocalypse.
You could have a Brotherhood of Mutants storyline.
Yeah, where you do it from Magneto. You do the villains.
Yeah.
Like that. You know, that would be an interesting add-on to the existing game.
Like if you bought like the deluxe edition or whatever, you get these extra levels that you're Magneto.
Well, just think about this from a Telltale perspective. You could do a Brotherhood of Mutants X-Men Telltale series, and it's the same game as X-Men Telltale 1, but it's just Because the levels are the same. They already built those levels.
Yeah, it's the companion game.
You just remap it with the Brotherhood of Mutant characters, and you play all the levels as evil.
Yeah, you skin them all differently.
Yeah, that's all you do. Wow, this sounds like
Telltale. You can give us a call anytime.
There you go, Telltale. I think that's the next game. I don't even want to talk about any other games because I think X-Men Telltale Series is exactly where it needs to be. Guys, as I said in the beginning of this video, patreon.com/Jawiin makes all these videos possible. You can go over there. You can watch these videos early. Thank you guys to all my patrons over there. Don't forget to click subscribe because I do questions like this every single week with all kinds of cool people like Ashley V. Robinson, who you can follow on Twitter. Where?
At Ashley V. Robinson.
Yeah, so don't forget to click subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Jawiin, Jawiin, and we'll see you next week with another geeky question.